My grandfather has a 1983 El Camino. It was a 6-speed or a 6-cylinder originally, and then somebody put a big block in it. But now it's just sitting in Virginia rotting. So,
I haven't heard about that in years.
I
was still working for
That reminds
me. Your company.
Yeah.
Last time.
It's still sitting down there, and I'm trying to convince him to. I've got a garage. Just bought a house, so I've got a garage I can put it in. I'm trying to convince him to just let me. Ooh.
That came in. I forget what year is that. 85, 84. But it's like
mid 80s. And is that a true SS?
So they never actually made a true SS.
Oh,
in the El Camino. But this had, I forget, what was the company? It's like Choo Choo Customs or something. And it was this company that, like an upfitter company.
Yeah.
And they put this ridiculous, when it's zoomed in, this like fake side exit exhaust on it. And that was an option you could get.
Wait, so that's not even a real
That's
exhaust?
not even real. And then they did put the SS front end on it.
Yeah.
So they put the Monty's front end on the El Camino. And
that would look badass.
From what I understand, they didn't make that very many because they're freaking ugly.
Wow, yeah.
But
that would look a lot better if it didn't have. And you're gonna have to send me this or send me that photo. So when you don't have to do it right now, but when I go to edit this,
right,
I want to be able to put this picture up on the screen because it has the possibility of being really cool. But that side exit, like 80s synthwave looking side exit that's on it, is ugly.
There was a GM magazine, and like GM High Tech when it was still a magazine, I'm pretty sure it was them. They had an article of a guy who didn't have, kind of like me, like dream car was Grand National.
Right.
Dude did not have Grand National money, which I don't have Grand National money, but he had gotten a 80s G-body El Camino. And basically over the course of, I want to say quite a few years, like 10, 15 years, dude put a Grand National front clip in it, Grand National engine in it, and basically turned an El Camino into a Grand National and painted it black, and it looked sick.
That would be really cool.
It was really cool. It was really unique because as far as G-body goes, El Caminos are down with like the Grand Prix on most hideous ones.
So speaking of the El Camino, I'm hopefully getting from my grandfather. He told me when he dies, I'm definitely getting it. I'm just trying to get it before then. So
why won't you croak yet?
I just want there to be something left. I mean, he lives outside of DC. It's humid all the time. It's just sitting on bare ground.
Yeah.
Well, Andy over here, he's from DC.
Right.
Yeah. So you know the conditions. It's just
it's only slightly better.
Yes.
Than like here, as far as, basically rust and cancer would just eat a car alive.
Yeah. And then the house he's in was the first house for literally hundreds of acres.
Right.
So now it's a 10-acre lot. You've got trees that have been there for 250 years are starting to come down. I mean, you watched.
Oof. I mean,
there's a Ferrari in my uncle's garage that came from his property, a Cougar, a 67.5 Mustang.
Dang.
I mean, my grandfather's had some crazy cars, but he just lets them sit there and rot once they're done. I mean, he had an F-100 1952, I think, or no, that's too early. 60s F-100. I mean, 3 on the tree, and a freaking tree literally just snapped the frame in half.
Oof. Weren't the 60s F-100s, weren't those the unibody trucks?
I have no idea.
It wasn't unibody when the tree was done with it, I can tell you. But the funny thing is I VIN coded this car, and it's black now, but I scraped some of the paint off in an inconspicuous spot, and it's purple underneath, and I didn't know that, and it's factory coded for that color.
Really?
It's like
purple.
It's almost purple. It's like a blue, but
it's like a violet blue.
Yes, it's on that spectrum of getting.
It can't be any worse than my parents. I don't even remember the car as far as like what it originally looked at. My parents told me that they had an 85 Cavalier they bought brand new, and it was some kind of deep purple. all I remember that car was being doo-doo brown. Apparently, that paint had faded to basically look like shite. Like,
yeah.
It looked like doo-doo brown. And I remember that car, like, they gave up on that car and bought another Cavalier. Like, this was like, parents' logic. I mean, I know that, looking back at now, my parents were financially limited to like anybody else, and that was the best car that they could get. But, I mean, my brother and I were pretty tall, like, not big boys, but we were just tall and lanky.
Yeah.
And fitting in behind a Cavalier did not last very long.
No. Oh, real quick, because I just wanted to say this. I sold my Alpha 6 months before Alpha came back to the United States. Had I kept it, even in its horrible shape, probably could have sold it for like $4,500.
Probably could have, actually.
It's just obnoxious. Once they came back, if I had known, one, I'd still have it, but it's just, the world is a funny place when it comes to those sorts of things. Because you don't know.
Well, I mean, like, the Trailblazer was like that as far as, like, I would have not gotten rid of it if I knew that I was going to come into some money.
Right.
But I bailed on it because it's like, well, I need something more reliable. And the poor Trailblazer was, like, on the brink of death.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any money at the time to fix it.
And the worst part is you never have enough money to fix it all the way you want.
Right,
and
And being the Trailblazer, I wanted to, like, mod it and all kinds of things.